Here's what I'm manifesting for advertising in 2025.
Just circling back on this, did those 2025 manifestations come to fruition? Let's review. One of my manifestations for 2025 was return of the brand. After watching the industry swing the pendulum pretty far towards performance marketing investments, I was hoping that we would right-size this a little bit and better balance out investments in brand and performance. This didn't entirely happen for a few reasons. One, the economic climate throughout the entire year was pretty unstable and unpredictable. And even though consumers kept spending, this is a difficult climate for brands to justify investments in spaces that don't immediately prove out a return. Which brings me to two. Measurement capabilities in historically brand-oriented spaces are still lacking. And yes, 2025 saw a lot of improvements being made here, particularly when it comes to performance TV, but the barrier to entry for most advertisers is still pretty high. Another barrier to branded efforts really making a comeback in 2025 were our online spaces themselves, particularly social media, which increasingly became pretty hostile and dystopian environments for brands to operate in thanks to easily ignited internet mobs, algorithms favoring rage bait and AI slop, and large language models increasingly serving as the first and often final touchpoint in a consumer's journey with a brand. In this climate, even the most well-intended brand campaign could easily have its message misconstrued or misrepresented by strangers on the internet. Another manifestation I had was that we would adopt curation as a practice and not necessarily a product. And this was really geared towards wanting to see the industry take more of a DIY approach when it came to curation, because a lot of what was being termed as curated inventory was actually something a savvy buyer could do themselves. And I think this happened with a decent degree of success, but the conversation in 2025 moved quality assurance beyond just meaning selection of inventory to scrutinizing the path to that inventory itself. Yes, SPO was back in vogue, because perfectly curated inventory can still be ruined by a messy supply path. A third manifestation was that AI would focus on the fundamentals, like upskilling and laying appropriate data hygiene and privacy foundations. And I would say we saw selective success here. Upskilling still remained a largely self-guided effort, creating blind spots and gaps in organizational use, while solid data foundations remained a challenge. 2025 also saw society and advertisers move from shiny object syndrome with AI to a more critical eye on it. While our understanding of best use cases for AI grew, as did organized efforts to more seriously build with it, overall the industry still lacks clarity around how and what exactly AI is going to meaningfully improve. Even though you might feel disillusioned with where we're at with AI right now, it would be short-sighted to not stay educated and curious as the technology evolves. My final manifestation was that premium TV inventory would be brought to the masses. And this was something we saw a great deal of success in. 2025's headlines were full of news about premium inventory, particularly within big ticket events like live sports being made available to advertisers of all sizes, with programmatic transaction being prioritized. But as someone who's recently been watching a lot of TV thanks to maternity leave, I have to say, where is this promised diversification of advertisers? Because all I see is a monopolization by pharma, and that's across multiple platforms and show content types. Premium inventory is available in theory, but advertisers will need greater transparency into what they're buying to make this a reality. Something that's historically been challenging thanks to laws preventing sharing of certain data points, as well as publishers wanting to prevent cherry picking of inventory.